We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Stephen Jack Butala.
and I'm Jill DeWitt, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 1960. Today, we are talking about a couple of topics. Number one, stuff they don't teach you in high school about creating equity. Remember you had to carry a little egg around so you wouldn't get pregnant? That's actually beneficial.
I never had to do that. I remember everybody doing, how did I miss that class?
I don't know.
I tell you, I don't know what happened, or I don't know, maybe they thought, Jill, you're not going to go there anyway, so you don't need an egg.
Yeah, there's a bunch of reasons you need an egg more than a lot of people.
Thanks.
Talk about that in a minute.
Should have carried around a checkbook, and that's what they should have been monitoring, which is what we're going to talk about.
That's right.
That's true.
How to balance a checkbook.
Jill, it's not supposed to save all your money, spend it on one concert, and start over again. That's what I did.
And number two, why Land Academy has stood the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
We get this question all the time in our staff, and so we decided to address it on the show here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that it's going to be an
Did you do the
interesting
egg
topic. I didn't do it personally because I didn't take home economics.
Oh, so
I took
that
it
was
in middle school.
That was the same as me then,
Mhm.
because I did that, and I loved it. I saw, you remember we had like a little kitchen?
Yep.
You had like 5 little kitchens or 4 kitchens around the room, and you would maybe make brownies.
Little tiny
and maybe,
ovens.
Yep. So maybe we had a full-size oven. You had a little one?
We did a budget.
Oh.
We actually did a budget with back then it was way before computers, so everything was a printout. You had to fill in how much money you made every week, and
Okay.
so it was helpful.
I didn't pay attention to that. You know what I focused my energy on?
Social
which was
stuff.
know how to write a check. Not how to balance, but how to actually
God.
write and fill out a check.
I can tell this is going to be an interesting topic for Jill.
Thanks.
Each week on the show, we answer questions from our Land Academy member Discord forum. We review land acquisitions from our from our weekly member webinars, and then we take a deep dive into land-related topics by popular request. If you want a sneak peek of our Discord forum, and I would highly recommend this, go to landacademy.com. It's free, and it's in read-only format. All of our members are in there talking to each other. What should I do here? Should I do this deal? You can take a look at all of it.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, if you have some questions that you want us to answer, or you want to be listened to here on this podcast, or you just want to get involved in our community to find out more, all you got to do is simply text us at 480-530-7383. We read all the tests, and your question just might be here, as I mentioned. Okay, so here's our first question today. Michael wrote, "Hi, everyone. My wife, Kristen and I, are now starting our, is it John or Michael?
Maybe John.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Let's back up. John wrote, my wife, Kristen, and I are now just starting our land investment career. We would like to do this as a permanent business starting soon. I am an HVAC/R contractor, and that has been in commercial and industrial sector of this industry for 34 years. Wow. My wife has been in the education industry for many years as well. I would love to hang up the tools, literally, within these next 3 years to pursue land investment full time. My current business will be funding the land investment business until it gets off the ground. We live in Montana and are 3 years away from becoming empty nesters.
Yay.
We'll be moving back to the beach somewhere, maybe Florida, I don't know. We are originally from Huntington Beach, California. Very close to me. You know that. Beach life is in our blood. Boy, I get that. We are excited to start this new journey, be part of this community. Thanks for having us. Sweet. So this is just a nice comment. There's not really a question here.
Well, I chose this because you are already in business.
Yeah.
You are my favorite type of new land investor because I think what you need to learn is less than half of what everybody else on the planet needs to learn. You already know how to, you probably got payroll. You understand what it's like to get paid last in your own business. There's just a ton of tiny little things that we all take for granted for ourselves for running a business. And so what you need to do is learn how to buy land below its current value.
Which you're going to learn if you haven't already.
That's all you have to learn. You don't have to learn about, oh, geez, I need payroll. I've got to start an LLC. What if I need this employee over here? How to deal with a partner, especially if you're married to her.
Taxes.
All of that stuff. You've got that licked. You know, what you need to do is just focus on buying and selling land.
And getting the kids out of the house.
Yeah. It's helpful for every reason.
Totally. And moving helps, by the way. That's good.
Today's first topic, stuff they didn't teach you in high school about creating equity. But I'm learning now after talking to Jill that she has a lot more to say about what she didn't or did learn in high school. So we'll get to equity in a second. What would you change? What do you think they should have taught you? Or do you think it's you?
Probably me. I wasn't signing up for the correct courses.
Like what? Art appreciation?
Business. No, I should have signed up for business. I didn't sign up for any of that.
How to be a Depeche Mode groupie. Joe would have teach that class.
Well, I love math. I love physics. I did that. I was half enjoying French, even though we didn't take any great field trips. That would have been more worthwhile if we went to France, but no. My French experience was like, selling French candy for, whatever. And which I was the president of the French club. That's a great idea.
Jill and I, in real life here, have assigned ourselves these educational type roles. We don't need to do this. We didn't need to do this back in the 2015 when we started all this craziness. But for whatever reason, we assigned ourselves this instruction type role. So I think about this a lot. I'm like, if I went back to high school or even just talked to somebody who writes curriculum for a high school now, what would I say? And geez, how about a class called Sales 101? How about how to have a dynamic personality after you take, the stainless steel spike out of your nose? How about that class?
What is that?
Just, you're not going to get what you want in life if you're running around all goth. You're just not.
Oh, I
don't have anything against that.
I didn't have anything in my nose.
I know you didn't.
Okay.
This isn't just about you.
I thought you were directing it at me. I'm like, I wasn't. Okay. So.
No, I just think, how to have a dynamic person, like a 101 Dale Carnegie course, how to win friends and get people. Like,
right,
that would be fantastic.
Great. Even in psychology, they didn't really teach that.
Right.
They taught like what you just, you know what it is? It's almost like they teach you enough to pass the test. Like a lot of things in life, like a real estate exam. When you really think about it, if you ever took the exam, because if you took the courses, right, to take the real estate exam, probably every state, we did it for Arizona, it's like they teach you what you need to know for the exam, not always real life. And I want to pause for just a moment and I want to give you some context of why this topic came up today. We're driving around in these Midwest states, and we're looking at these people and we're looking at their homes, and you know what? And they have nice lives. You can tell, we were driving around northern Minnesota yesterday. And what? No.
So geography is not one of the things that Jill took either in high school.
Is that not where we are?
No, we're in Wisconsin.
Oh, excuse me. Doggone it. Sorry. Fill in the blank. Let me go back to Midwest. We're driving around fill in the blank state. Anyway, my point is, I'm like, okay, look at these homes. Look at the pride of ownership. Look at everybody's cars. Look at how chill people are. Look at how, they're just really well. And what's interesting, everybody has a really, I'm trying to be very, I'm trying to state some facts here, my observation too. And I don't really know, I'm not trying to offend anyone. There's so many people here, heck, I'll give you my hometown. There's so many people in my hometown, Garden Grove, California, that have just settled in to very nice, very stable, very consistent,
and affordable,
no surprises, and accepting life.
Well said.
And if they have a hiccup in their financial plan, they will either take out another job. I've seen them go get a different degree to increase their earnings at a job. But stay at this job, by the way. They don't take a lot of chances. I've even seen them, and some of this I just kind of see from my friends on Facebook and stuff, like taking roommates or something. So they're creative in those ways. So that's really good. But they don't blow it out of the box. They don't really take some chances. They don't really, I feel like, wow, do these people not know how smart they are and what's possible? And then I think for you and I start talking about, well, maybe the ball was dropped in high school.
So Jill and I, we watched a family in a very small town right out of a postcard, farming community in northern Wisconsin, pack up their car with their kids, with smiles on their face. I don't know where they were going, probably to the park or something like that. And I was just struck with two thoughts. Really, this is what Jill's getting at. Yes, that's great. They're happy and they figured it all out. And they're raising a family. Congratulations. It's wonderful. But do they know, this is the second thought that I had, do they know that you can create equity while you're doing that?
True.
How many people would be creating equity for themselves to kind of raise their quality of life up if they want that?
Mm-hmm.
How many people know that that's possible or even an option? That's the tragedy of what, they don't teach you that in high school.
No.
They should tell you. And it's an accounting concept that I'm going to leave accounting out of this. You can create equity. The easiest way to describe creating equity, and this is how most people do it, is when you make your mortgage payment. Part of that is principal pay down. You buy a $300,000 house and you make a $2,000 payment, usually using round numbers. A certain percentage of that is interest for the privilege of borrowing money, and a certain percent of that is principal. And so in a $2,000 payment at the beginning of the loan, like $1,900 of it is interest. So every month you're paying a little bit more principal. First 100, 125, 100. So you're creating equity by paying that off. And at the end of the, let's say it's a 15-year or 30-year loan, at the end it's the reverse. So it's a kind of an X on a graph. Way more interest up front, way small amount of principal, way more principal as you go on, and a lot less interest at the end of the loan. And so that's equity creation. But if you start like our HVAC contractor here at the beginning of the episode, is creating business equity for himself by taking on fixing HVAC contracts. Mm-hmm. So, and if he does 20 a week, he's creating more equity for himself. He's making more money than he's spending, and so he's putting it away. And maybe he's get a second location. Maybe he hires a bunch of guys. That's more equity. So creating equity should be part. It should be, the sentence should be this: if you want to get ahead in life and really change your lifestyle, if you don't, nobody's criticized. That's what Jill was so careful about earlier. If you don't want to change your life and everything's great, there's other podcasts. But if you want to really change your life and create some equity for yourself and create some wealth, there's real incredible ways to do it. The HVAC contractor way is just the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then there's a ton of stuff in between. Let's talk about what Elon Musk does and did. He created a car company. He did a bunch of stuff before that nobody knows about. But he created Tesla. There's a documentary about it, almost bankrupted him because he was just out of money. He spent all the money that he personally had, but he took the company public. So he created an amazing amount of equity for himself by taking that company public and raising equity is what he did, and capital, so that he can go build a company freely with investors like you and I, if you own Tesla stock. So I wish there was a whole course on creating equity, even if you don't like it. Even if it's like, making a ton of money is just not something that I've been interested in. I've had those conversations.
Jack, I'm 19. I'm a freshman in college. I know this needs to happen. What would you tell me to do?
I would find now. It's different than if you were 19 when we were 19.
I mean, now.
Now, I would say go out on the internet and find your community and I don't mean,
Well, that's easy. I'm in a baseball I'm in a football sports league, fantasy league. Does that mean community?
You're not going to create any equity there. And I don't mean, different types of cannabis. You're not going to get any further from anything there. You need to understand and look at everything in a spreadsheet about buying something and selling it for more. You can do that, or buying something and improving it and selling it for more, or just there's a lot of different ways to create equity. And I think that finding your community about other people who want to create equity and following somebody who's actually done it would be really, really, really helpful.
Maybe it's cars. It's even like I've heard of a lot of, people doing this, finding like they know how to do cars. They know how to work on cars and create equity there. They know how to buy them cheap, fix them up, turn around and sell them. Maybe it's at an auction. Maybe you just find them on Craigslist. I don't know. Maybe even something like that just to build up some money, and then you can start making different decisions.
There's basic concepts out there like this. Mm-hmm. Find something where the sum of its parts is worth more than all the parts separate. A television is a great example. There's tons and tons of parts that go into a TV. They're all, visualize them on a workbench somewhere. Somebody puts them all together. Now you've got a functioning, great, brand new TV. That TV is worth more than all the parts on the workbench that were separate. This. And so that's one way to create equity, is to put stuff together, like rebuild a car. I wouldn't recommend rebuilding cars. It's a lot of work. But if you're really into it and understand it, that's great. Maybe you can write software. And I wouldn't. I think there's a ridiculous amount of opportunity writing software for other people in the beginning. I see a lot of people in that industry try to start to finish write some type of software, and by the time they're done, it's obsolete.
Right.
But contract yourself out if you're good at that, and that comes natural to people who need it, who need a little subsection of whatever they're developing.
This is good.
Then doesn't matter if it succeeds or fails. You created some equity for yourself and maybe branded your name along the way, which is great.
I like this. This is good.
Whatever sings to you. What sung to me in the beginning was representing people when they're buying and selling nursing homes and taking a fee out of that, although you're not really creating, it's just a fee. You're just creating dollars. What sung to me, and it's in our ebook, if you go to landacademy.com and download the ebook, it's all free. I bought a piece of property on the internet for I don't remember the exact number, $6,000 or $8,000, and then I never saw it. It was a piece of land in northern Arizona. And then repackaged it all up and resold it on the same venue and on eBay, 30 days later for 2 or 3 times what I paid for it, just because I presented it differently. And that was it. From that, I remember the exact moment. Having that thought, that light bulb moment. All I have to do is spend my entire life buying and selling, locating land that's undervalued and repackaging it or putting it through a different scenario and on the south side.
I did it all wrong. I was a W-2 person working hard for somebody else, and all I was doing was helping getting planes off the ground on time and seats filled. That's it. That was like but I was all the while watching and seeing those other people in real estate get rich. I didn't have the A to, G part, or whatever. I didn't have any of the parts until you came along.
Jill, maybe you were that person that needed that equity class in high school.
Definitely
I'm sure
needed
you
the
would have
equity
responded
class.
to that.
Shucks.
You're a total math person. I know you.
Yeah. I would have jumped in. It wasn't offered.
Jill's an airplane pilot. She's very technical when it comes to a lot of this stuff, and I think that would have sung to you.
Totally.
In high school, maybe how about the class is called How to Get Rich?
I would have gone to that class.
How to Get Rich Eventually.
I wouldn't have gone to that class. I'll be honest. Back then, I wasn't into it.
Wow.
It's dumb.
I would have been the teaching assistant.
I know. Class. I was like, I would have been, know what class I would have gone to? How to pass high school and only put in 5% of effort. That's the class I would have gone to, because I was really just more interested in going out and having fun and being on the beach. So sorry. That's truth. And then later, things change. And then later on, I'm like, oh, shoot. Yeah.
Learning about World War II is really not that useful in life. It's interesting as hell. For me, it is anyway. Actually, it's interesting now. I didn't care about it when I was 19. The whole thing at high school needs to change.
It does.
Really, I'm serious. It's like
it's not setting up for life sometimes. Yeah. That's very true. It's almost like that stuff should have been done at middle school. It's almost like, okay, then there's college. And I like to think college sets you up for life. Maybe we should take it back a step. Let's stop some of this minutiae, whatever, at middle school, and let's give 4 years of life skills. That would be my high school.
I'm just not sure that you need to study Shakespeare at all.
It's at 17.
Yep. And I used to think otherwise. I used to think, that's what being educated is. You can kind of quote things and you're aware of it and all that. But I think
Yeah.
you don't need to know anything more about Shakespeare except that the guy wrote a bunch of stuff and, he's English and you can take that how you want. And he's got a lot of stories that people replicate even now in the movies.
Thank you.
Next chapter.
Move on.
Yep. Hitler was bad. Next chapter.
Yep.
Here's how to run. Here's what you need to know about getting married. You should have a class on marriage. This is what it really means when you get married and legally.
Exactly. Let's take a look at one of our favorite land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar. Do this deal. Richmond County, North Carolina, accepted offer price, $220,000. Thinks we could sell it for $600,000. Neighbor Scoop / Parcel Fest says 80 acres, but it's actually 65. Okay. So.
Uh-oh.
I know. Front road, I see the front road. There's access there and there.
We don't know. This might be
Depending,
too
that could
large
be a
of
highway.
highway.
It's Highway 1. So everyone's alive. Parcel in the center needs to be addressed. Assumed it would be included. The seller happens to be a real estate agent, but it's not on the market. Not sure it's a red flag. Not necessarily. Sometimes I've talked to agents, they just collect property for whatever reason. My initial thought is, did you check the flood and I missed it?
Yeah, and there's no flood issue.
Okay.
This was deforested.
I'm actually okay with this.
I like it.
Who does own the property in the middle?
See, this is deforestation.
Uh-huh. When's it dated? That was 2018. So that's 4 years ago. That's great.
I really wonder what it looks like now.
Yeah. Well, we'll know as soon as Sam gets a photographer out there on Tuesday.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't like that. Well, subdivide, owner financing. That's probably been up for years.
Well, I'll tell you, I love the deal until we got to this.
You know what? I love everything about it. I really like it. I just want to know what the price is.
Me too.
And even real estate agents sell properties for weird reasons at different prices because I have to get off my books.
185,000 sold, 1.2 million sold. For how many acres?
Oh, yeah. How big?
244.
What's the biggest? Can you go 50 to 100?
1.17 for 131.
There's 50 for 210, but they had a price cut
Mm-hmm.
of a lot.
Jeez,
Again, a
a
half.
price cut of $385,000.
There's something else.
So there's something going on with this deal.
I have looked at a handful of deal funding deals this week that were areas that I wouldn't be playing in because the days on market are too high.
Really?
Yep. And I think it was just a simple little, didn't know how to do it, or it was skipped the red, yellow, green test.
Mhm.
Because the red, yellow, green test would have smoked that out. FYI.
Talk to this guy too. If this is commercial property
Uh-huh.
like this is a good sign. So I wouldn't kick this to the curb at all.
Right.
Whatever you find out, you can go back to the seller and say, this is what I found out. This is what the property's worth. But you probably already know that
Right.
because you tried to sell it for 16 years.
Right. And then with an agent, right? Because they know what it's worth. For me, when I talk to them, my bottom line is, this is all I'm willing to pay. It's a whole different, it's a
Yeah,
different conversation.
That's right. That's right.
Like, I don't care what you think it's worth.
Yeah.
None of that matters to me. How
That's
long
right.
you had it, this and that. Like, look, I'm prepared to give you X. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I wish you all the best. You
Yes.
are always in the driver's seat,
Mhm.
period.
I'm telling you, she was not like this when we first started doing this. She was like, we got to make these deals work, every single one of them.
I did.
Now
that's
she's kind of
true.
like got her middle finger stuck up to everybody.
Now,
And unless
now-
it's like that
now I'm a
situation,
land snob.
like that
You could
situation
be a land.
right
You should be
before
a land
us,
snob.
right before this one, with that infill lot
Yeah.
at $16,000, it's like, it's got to be that kind of deal. We're just not going to do it.
Yeah. And then you won't fail.
So you got to find out if this is that kind of deal. We don't know. We don't have enough information to know if this is a good price or not.
Right.
The agents will tell you.
I am so excited to share that not only is today my birthday, by the way, as this is airing, it's on my birthday.
Jeez, Jill.
Yay. But more importantly, there is an amazing special going on. If you are thinking of joining Land Academy, I have 2 announcements. One is go to landacademy.com and check out the special we have going on right now. It ends after this weekend. That's number 1. If you saw me live on July 3rd, then you know about the details, but it's also on the website. You could also go to Facebook and YouTube and all kinds of places and see the replays of the video. So that's there for you too. My second announcement is Career Path is officially open for the public. First, as always, our members get first dibs. So they've had a month to lock in their spots for Career Path number 7 and 8, which are coming up this fall. What's Career Path? It's an 8-week program. It's a highest level of coaching taught directly by Jack and I. It is very personalized. It is very intense, and it's designed for those of you who want to make this your career. This is it for you. So check that out too. On landacademy.com, if you go under programs, you'll find more information, dates, schedule, all that good stuff, how to apply, how to schedule a call to get your questions answered, all of that there on our website.
Let's take another question posted by one of our members on the Land Academy Discord online community. Again, if you want a sneak peek of that, go to landacademy.com.
All right. Jack wrote, I have a seller that wants to sell 2 acres. We offered him $5,000, but alive is the issue. We have 6 A's. One of them is alive, like is the person alive and able to sell? We're about to figure out what's going on here. The property was his grandfather's, who is now deceased. The property is willed to his mother and his sister.
Uh-oh.
His mother, father, and his mother's sister all passed away over 20 years ago. But does he have some estranged? But he does have some estranged cousins. This is hilarious. Okay, I have a lot to say here.
I know.
Let me go.
I'm going to zip it. Yeah.
Okay. He does have some estranged cousins from his mother's sister that he doesn't even know where they live. He's been paying the taxes on the property for the last 20 years. I assume the fact that he has cousins can make the transfer problematic. Is there any advice I can offer to help him out, or just tell him to call if he figures it out?
I like that.
That's good. Call me when you have something to sell. I've done that. Totally done that. So let me go back. What you need to know is this, and I'll read those comments here in a minute. What you need to know is this, Jack. Get your hands on that deed. The most recent deed, which is called the vesting deed. If it's JTROS, which is joint tenants with rights of survivorship, if there's anything on there that would, mom and whoever, and then because what that means is whoever's on that deed, say there's 4 people, 3 people, 2 people, 1, well, there's usually 2 or more. There's 2 or more people or entities listed on a joint tenants deed. If it's joint tenants with rights of survivorship, when anybody else passes on, then it's automatically transferred into the surviving person or entity's possession, name, if whatever you want to call it. Normally, the counties will just require you to show proof of that person passed on, like an original death certificate, no questions asked, and that would do at the time of transfer. Nothing needs to happen before then. So then, anything other than that, you could have problems. All kinds of things mean, there's heirs, and this and that. There's all kinds of things that could happen. Like tenants in common, that scares the poop out of me. That really does mean it's going to be aired and aired and aired and aired and aired until everybody, airs down to the surviving members. So did I just cover the comments? You don't even need me to say them?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So anyway, that's what that means. So get your hands on that and then figure it out. And then the last thing is, I won't kick it to the curb. If it's a really, really great deal, it's too easy for you even to pick up the phone, have one, if you're not sure, right? We're not sure about these situations and you think there's still something there. Gosh, just call a local attorney. If better yet, there was an attorney that handled, grandpa's estate and the guy still has that information, then I would call that person, just say, hey, did you know about this property? What do you think? Is there a possibility you can get this done? And if you don't have that, just a local attorney where the property is and see if they can get it done and just find out. And they'll tell you, it could be probably a 5-minute conversation and they'll say, yeah, it can be done or it can't be done, or here's what's involved. Here's how long it will take. and here's what it will cost. And then you make a decision.
The first thing you want to do in these situations, if you buy and sell land a lot, you have stories and stories about this topic.
Oh, yeah.
If you're just getting into it, please don't blow this off because it's going to happen. It's going to be part of your life. This is important. It happens all the time. It's not infrequently. It happens.
True.
First thing that I do in these situations is you look at the value. So they're going to buy it for $5,000. Is it worth $50,000? Is it worth $500,000? Because if it's worth $500,000, all those trickling heirs that may be out there might have some interest in it.
That too.
If you're going to make 20 grand, they probably don't care, especially if they're going to divide by 14 or something like that. So it has to be dramatically worth your time from a number standpoint. Here's also something to absolutely retain this no matter who you are. It's not, this business with wills doesn't apply to real estate. I know it doesn't make any sense.
People think it's automatic.
Wills are huge. They are incredibly relevant for personal property.
Like a
Cars,
grandma's ring,
rings,
a
artwork.
watch, art.
Yeah, things you don't record at the county.
Right.
Real estate, everybody wants to know whose name it is because you don't want to break the chain of the title. So if you put real estate as part of your estate planning into a trust, no chain break. Everybody knows exactly what's happening. It's all spelled out in the trust. But if grandpa says, I own this property over here and I will it to my daughter or my granddaughter, that's not going to convey at the time of death. There's a bunch of stuff you have to go through from an estate standpoint. And if it doesn't happen, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's a 20-year mess.
You brought up something good. What if it's not JTROS, but it's in the name of a trust? That's going to help you right there too. So you got to get your hands on that vesting deed.
Yeah.
And that's easy. And if they don't have it, they lost it, it's in somebody's safe and nobody knows where it is, get with the county. You know, you may have access to it already. With our tools, with Data Tree and Title Pro, there's a good chance you already have. You can get it yourself. If not, you can just call the county and get a copy of it. And then my last thing, you brought up something funny. Remember that graph? There's this graph and there's that graph. So here's what you need to happen with these properties. You need to have the money of the property worth your time to untangle the mess, but not too expensive that all the family members want a piece of it.
Yep.
Because let's say it's a buy for 5, sell for, buy for 5, sell for 100,000. That's like, okay, I'll untangle this mess, but all the members might want in on it too.
Yeah.
This is funny. Thank you.
Today's second topic is called Why Land Academy Has Stood the Test of Time. What do you think?
I'm like listening.
Like, here's the thing. Jill and I have been doing this for a lot of years. You can see all this gray hair. It didn't happen on accident.
And I didn't do it.
And we were talking earlier about equity and, finding a community. You need to find the right community where the people that are involved in the community and the leaders of the community in general sing to you. That they, in your eyes, have some credibility, some long-term credibility. They're actually putting their money where their mouth is. So not just in the land business or flipping real estate business or whatever you choose to do to create equity for yourself, please choose something. Please choose some type of equity to create for yourself and some type of community that sits well with you and to create some equity, and choose them carefully.
May I jump in here?
Yeah, for sure.
Not to insult you, Jack, in any way.
Not possible.
I'm just kidding. But here's my thoughts on why we are here and why we're still here. Number 1, we're going on 9 years. That's just Land Academy, not as investors. Do you know how much time we are? I just sat and did the math. You're going on 25 years. You're probably over 25 years because it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Being in this, you're definitely over 25 years in this business.
Yeah, it's probably 30 years.
And then I'm going to go with 25 plus years of being your own boss as a full-time investor.
Yep.
What the heck does that say? No, it's not. It's not like I just left my corporate job a year ago and I'm like, I got this and I can show you. Oh no, you have been doing it for 25 years. Me for 14, 15 years. I don't remember the math. Over 10 with you as full-time, our whole gig. And again, way before Land Academy. That's my point here is why is Land Academy still here and what's going on? Because you know why? Because I'm an investor first.
Yep.
I'm doing deals right now with you. I'm making mistakes. Oh, trust me, I almost made a big one that I'll share when it all gets resolved. I almost made a $121,000 mistake. So, and it could be okay. I'm waiting for it all to work itself out. But, you're here and we're here and I'm here because this is my business and it'll never change, ever. And I mean, ever. We have weathered multiple financial ups and downs, like not our own personally, like market driven stuff.
Yeah.
We know how to recover from this
Sure.
stuff.
That's right.
And I'm going to be, and you're going to be, this is Jack's number one job. His job is to be out in front of it all, ahead of everything on what's coming with market changes, what's coming with technology changes, what's coming about how we find these properties and find these sellers and get these offers out. I'm right behind him, making sure that we know how to communicate with these sellers and we're getting the deals done and we're buying them right and we're selling them right and working with those people right. And, all of that goes on after that part. So that's how we stood the test of time. It's because we are not, you said that so perfectly earlier, we're not educators first. Trust me. We know we can improve on that and we do the best we can. And I think that we provide such good support. I know that because you tell us that, and we tweak it all the time based on what you tell us. So, but we are number one, investors first, and we will not fail. And we do everything we can to make sure you don't fail.
Buying and selling land has been around since this country.
Yep.
It's been got popular with the railroads moving out west in the middle to late 1800s.
Yep.
And so there was no internet back then. There was barely really a Pony Express post office. So, and people have been successfully buying and selling land. When I started this in the early 90s, there's no access to the internet at all. It just got started. It became a thing, and certainly there was no application to do this. And so manipulating data and analyzing data has also been around since there's been data. And so we started, the internet's very prevalent now. It's how you do things. It's how everybody does things. So we've done that since way before the internet. And we will do it way, way after that. Whatever tools are available to us, we're going to utilize them. Ask yourself, who's older than the internet in this space or in any space for however you want to create equity for yourself? And you probably have something there. Mm-hmm. It's standing the test of time. There's all kinds of changes that will happen with technology, and we will change with them. True. But we still will be buying and selling land successfully through that.
I love it.
Let's take a look at another one of our favorite land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar. Cook County, Texas, 6.79 acres, $100,000, offer price, proposed sale to 150. Hour and a half from Dallas, which is great. Sits on a hill, great spot for a house. Again, my 5-second reaction is really positive here. We can value these houses. We're going to get the value. Let's just do it right now. Cut right to the chase and see if we can get a value for these houses. Assessed value has nothing to do with what we do. Right on the same block. Okay, 225 is estimate on a house 2 doors down. This property is $100,000. This is way overpriced in my opinion. Let's confirm that. The house in the immediate area is 225 for larger acreage. So I think it's overpriced, but we'll see.
Buy for 100, sell for 150. I'm okay with that.
Me too.
You know what? So what? I'm going to make 50,000. I think that's fine. When it's stuff like this and when you just know, because we were talking about days on market. Did you guys cover that? We're looking at now. You just know it's 6. Yeah. It's it's going to sell because everything in there is selling and you can see it. So
5 acres for 220, 100 days on market, 250 days on market, 5 for 200. That's the bottom. 5 acres is $200,000. This is 6 acres for 100.
But that's bad. That deal I might not like.
63 days, 119 days, 119, 6, a little bit larger acreage here. This is all good news so far.
This makes me feel really good that they probably got pretty close to, you know what, look at their creative pricing on the sales side too. We don't often think about that, but let's get creative when you post it for sale like you do when you buy it. So 156, 400, that's what they came in with. And then 6 weeks later, they had it pending and then it sold. But what's fun, and I'm going to probably think it probably was that person. It was probably over the holidays because they never relisted it at that point.
I like it.
So
It's a little bit higher than I'd like it to be. I'd like the price to be around 60 or 70, but I think you will,
Yeah.
you will have the cheapest 6 acre property.
If you do it all
on
wrong,
the
you sell it
MLS.
for 140. I
Yeah.
mean, you're still making a nice chunk of change.
That's what I think too.
And as long as, I mean, as long as it goes like this, you know, quickly, if you find some other, they're still moving, our house is moving quickly. There's something about this area too that I just don't worry about. There's so much, so many possible buyers that makes it wonderful. I'd buy it. I would try to get it. I'm trying to get it for 80, even 80, I'd feel better.
Me too.
Because I want more money in your pocket. That's really good.
Jill, you have something inspirational to share.
Yes. It's come to my attention. Let me put this out there as a question, then I'll tell you where I'm going here. The what I want to talk about for just a few minutes is, what's your land obsession level, and is it okay? Here's why. It has come to my attention. We just had a discussion just this morning, right? This is how it goes. Every morning before we record the podcast, we sit down and come up with our topics together. We take everything that we had going on this week. We look in Discord, see what's going on in our community, and we together come up with, okay, this is obviously a hot topic. We need to talk about this. So today, I don't know where I just had this little image, and I just said, I said, babe, do you think I'm obsessed with land? And his answer was, oh, hell yes. I'm like, oh, well, then we need to talk about that, because I'm sure I'm not alone. So first, I apologize.
Oh, I think it's funny.
Okay. But I am obsessed.
It's less work that I have to do, actually.
There is that. You've heard me, if you listen to our podcast for a while, you've heard us use this, me being a deal junkie, which I totally am. I'm total deal junkie. I can't stop it. I could turn things off. You're better at turning things on and off, shockingly, than I am. I suck at it. And I really suck at toning down my love for buying and selling land. I don't know why. I don't know how I have the energy to keep doing it. I am sure so many people are just sick of me talking about this topic, but it's who I am. It's in my blood. I used to drive around with you as a passenger, and you would, because this is our rule, whoever's a passenger has to do the phone stuff, right? Not the driver. So, you would say, hey, what are the values around here? Oh boy, have the tables turned. So on the long haul drives, Jack is our driver. But in the round town and the little nitty gritty things, I am the driver. And I am more probably driving you nuts when I say, how much did the house sell for? How much did that sell?
No.
What's that listed for?
It's in my soul too.
Okay, good. But I do have an obsession for it. So my point today is, if you have the same, what's the word I'm looking for? Condition that I do, know it, acknowledge it. That's the first step to recovery.
Jeez.
What?
This is hilarious.
I know.
Recovery.
And maybe apologize to your family if they're not. I'm very lucky. Could you imagine if he was didn't into this at all? This would be hard. And I'm sure some of you have spouses and partners that are not into this at all. And you're just like, what do you hear what I bought? And they're like, oh God, here we go again. So maybe take a temperature check. Make sure that they're on the same page. If you're a little too obsessed, maybe even ask them if they think you're obsessed, and then maybe tone it down, or maybe set some rules, or maybe give them a little bit of a break. So we even have to take breaks now and then. There's times that he doesn't want me talking about stuff. So that's my point.
When you're doing something that you don't need to do, it's not for the for your family or the betterment of yourself, or food, shelter, water. It's not. All those things have been taken care of, and money. When you're doing something, Jill, do you know how much money we've made so far buying and selling land this year? It's July.
I have to look it up.
Neither do I.
It's in a spreadsheet.
So why are you doing another deal?
Because I can't.
Because she's obsessed. That's correct. And so when you are doing things that you don't need to do, and you're not even really doing it for money, you're just doing it because you're on autopilot and that's what you do,
Right.
you got to ask yourself some questions.
Oh, you're right. I know
You
it.
know, do I really need this last drink, which will end up being not the last drink tonight, but maybe the third from last drink?
Well,
Do I
I'm going
need
to
to
argue
do that?
mine's a healthier
I'm
habit.
talking to myself.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That might be an obsession, or it might be some type of
Oh.
unhealthy thing going on there.
All right.
There's a lot of other things that you can apply to this, but I can just apply a number from 1 to 10. You know, how obsessed you are with land. What do you think? I can tell you what my number is.
Oh, your number for you or your number for me?
No, I'm not going to give you a number. I want you to give yourself a number, and I'll give myself a number.
Okay. Okay. My number on a 1 to 10 of my obsession level with land is probably an 8.
That's about right.
Okay.
I think I'm a 4, but I used to be an 8.
I understand.
And I was an 8 forever, probably long before we joined forces, and
Yep.
maybe a 9. It's just I had to do it, and a lot of it was to accumulate get that to that equity point that I thought we should all get to, and I've kind of stepped off a little bit, and she hasn't.
Can I give you 2 reasons why?
I started earlier, yeah.
I have 2 reasons why that I'm so into it right now, and then I will stop at this topic. One is I flippin' love it. This gets me high every day. I'm very happy doing land deals. I love looking at land deals. This is so flippin' fun for me. And number 2, a lot, and I mean more than 60% of the deals that I'm doing are other people's deals, and I'm helping them by funding their deals, and that's another reason why I love it.
That's healthy.
Because I
You're
am
helping
helping them by being the bank, and then
That's
they won't
great.
need my help anymore.
You know, so that's not about you, and
Mm-mm.
I think that's fantastic.
Mhm.
That's really healthy.
Thank you very much. Jack, you've got something you want to share today?
Yeah, so we are in coming in on a month here, being on the road in the RV of maybe 4 or 5 months this entire summer to get out of Phoenix because it's so hot, and I'm noticing that there are approximately 5 types of RVers out there, and I started to yesterday think about it and how I would relate that to land investors or just general business people. Number 1, you got your tent people. They're usually in a minivan. They're usually with children. It's just on the weekend because everybody's working full time, and the kids right now are out of school, so it's a popular thing. Everybody's got a smile on their face. Nobody took a shower. All having a blast. Super healthy. No real goal to ever get an RV. They're in a tent and they're having fun. It's awesome. Number 2, your overlanders, over-equipped. Usually have a beard, 30-something guys, maybe early 40s.
What about women?
Very particular about. There's a woman involved.
Oh,
One
okay.
second. Very particular about the type of coffee they drink. Love craft beer. And here's the thing about overlanders, because if you're in an RV park like us, and you come across an overlander, they're posers because they're supposed to be overlanding. They bought all this equipment. They're supposed to be out in the middle of nowhere and being by themselves, enjoying nature and doing whatever they do. So if you come across an overlander, they're a poser. I hope you get the idea now,
This is
because there's
good.
a lot of posers in business. Over-equipped posers with you see them on selling Sunset or selling whatever those shows are.
Oh, yeah.
Selling Orange County.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what-
good.
that's
I think
actually-
Selling Sunset is
They're
a
real
show.
estate agents.
Yeah.
Those types of people are real estate agents. They don't really know anything, and they're just getting in the way, and
No,
just like overlanders.
you're right.
Number 3,
The wrong overlanders. The real overlanders you never see.
that's right. Number 3, you got your Class C people, and I know this from personal experience because Jill and I last year were Class C people.
Yes, we were.
They're younger, in their 50s maybe, have a little more time on their hand. Maybe some of them can work from like this situation, can work
Remote.
remote. Maybe they have their own companies, and they're deciding if they like RVing or not. So they're buying a relatively inexpensive RV, or they're renting one, and they're usually couples, and they're going through probably marital hell because one person wants to be there, one person doesn't, and one person always does all the talking, and the other person just stands there. And so,
And there's no room in there, nowhere to go hide.
and the attrition rate in a Class C RV is pretty high.
Yeah.
So you won't see them next year. Then you got my personal favorite, your trailer people. They're the
Travel trailer.
travel trailer people, my personal favorite.
Yep.
Usually there's a guy involved. He's maybe in his 40s, maybe in his early 50s. He's got children. and his wife's all into it. They were travel trailer people when they were kids, and so they can fix anything.
They're
They can
hauling
make
all
a
kinds of
fire.
toys.
They got the things, 800 square feet. They have a garage in the back. The kids all have helmets.
ATVs.
No one's taken a shower in days, and they don't care.
Right.
And they cook their food out on a fire.
Yeah.
And so I've never seen travel trailer people that are dug in like that aren't just amazingly
Cool.
fun and people you want to hang out with.
True.
And finally, you got your Class A people, which is us. And these classes don't mean socioeconomic status. It's just the freaking size of the rig.
The rig.
And so the Class A people are usually a lot older, way older than us. They're interested in taking a shower every single day and eating good food and having high-end cocktails. And they can be annoying as hell. They can be really uppity, looking down at your nose and the whole thing. So if you apply those 5 types of personalities and those 5 types of people, those RV people, to investors or people in business, you can start to think about who you want to hang out with.
It's good.
The Class A of real estate investors are, they don't have time for you.
That's true.
They're, I've achieved all of this and I'm amazing and you're not, and go away. The Class C people are like, yeah, I've done a bunch of stuff, but I'm just not sure if I want to go to the next level. The travel trailer people are who you want. They're the people that own the HVAC companies, maybe have a jet, if you would never know it, and they don't care to even talk about it. You just want to hang out with them. The tent people, they're your W-2 employees. They're probably not going to ever own anything, but they're happy.
That's it. I was going to add, though,
That
please
leaves your Overlanders.
don't judge a book by its cover, though, because we are in what we roll around in and who we are 2 different things.
Yeah, judge a book by its cover. You're usually right. Not all the time.
Never mind. You are hilarious.
Just stay away from the posers
All
and
right.
the Overlanders.
Okay. Hey, by the way, don't forget, you can reach us for questions and help simply by texting 480-530-7383.
Join us next Wednesday for another interesting episode. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
And inspiration.
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you find our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.